Michael Joseph Jackson was born on August 29, 1958, in the quiet, industrial city of Gary, Indiana. Long before the world knew his name, long before he dazzled audiences with his voice and transformed global music forever, he was simply a gentle, curious boy with a soft spirit and a bright imagination. He grew up in a small house, filled with siblings, noise, dreams, and the sound of music drifting through the walls at all hours. Michael was the eighth of 10 children, a tiny figure surrounded by a large and energetic family. In that crowded home, there was always motion, always laughter, and always the comforting presence of rhythm. Music lived in every corner of the Jackson household. His father, Joseph, played guitar in a local rhythm and blues band, and his mother, Catherine, loved to sing and encouraged her children to do the same. Even as a child, Michael's connection to music seemed deeper than anyone around him could fully understand. When most children his age were learning nursery rhymes, Michael was humming harmonies, tapping perfect rhythms on household furniture, and absorbing melodies as if they were part of his soul. His voice, even in those early years, carried a sweetness that softened the room and made people stop and listen. Life in Gary was simple, but it was not always easy. The city was known for its steel mills, its long work shifts, and its cold winters. For the Jackson family, money was tight, and every day came with practical challenges. But inside the home, music became a warm blanket, wrapping the family in creativity, hope, and togetherness. It gave them comfort. It gave them purpose. And for Michael, it awakened something extraordinary. He loved to watch his brothers rehearse. Jackie, Tito, and Jermaine practiced constantly, singing and playing instruments with a dedication that impressed even their father. Michael would sit nearby, quietly studying every move, every note, every bit of emotion in their performances. He was only 5, but something inside him was waking up. He didn't just want to listen, he wanted to join them. One evening, during a rehearsal in their living room, Michael gently stepped forward and asked if he could try singing. At first, his brothers laughed, thinking he was just playing around. But when he opened his mouth, something magical happened. His tiny voice filled the room with clarity, emotion, and a natural confidence far beyond his age. Everyone fell silent. Even Joseph, who rarely showed softness, stared with surprise. From that moment, the trajectory of Michael's life shifted. He became not just a member of the family band, but the spark that turned them into something greater. The Jackson 5 was born, first in the home, then in the neighborhood, and soon across the entire region. Michael, with his vibrant energy and soulful voice, became the centerpiece of their performances. As the Jackson 5 began performing in talent shows and local clubs, Michael's gift continued to grow. On stage, he transformed from a shy boy into a radiant performer. He moved with ease, sang with emotion, and carried a natural joy that pulled audiences toward him. Even adults twice his age found themselves captivated by this small child who seemed born to perform. But behind the stage lights, Michael was still a little boy who loved simple things. He enjoyed playing with animals, drawing, and spending time alone, imagining worlds filled with magic and wonder. His shyness remained part of him, a quiet softness that contrasted beautifully with the confidence he showed under the spotlight. As the group's reputation spread, the Jackson 5 entered a talent competition at Gary's Roosevelt High School. They performed with extraordinary energy, and when Michael took the lead, the entire audience erupted. The judges were left speechless. The Jackson 5 won first place, and that victory opened the first major door in Michael's journey. From there, opportunities began to appear. Small at first, then rapidly growing, the family traveled to Chicago, performing in clubs like the Regal Theater, and eventually to New York, where the famous Apollo Theater awaited them. Each step pushed Michael closer to the destiny that seemed quietly waiting for him since birth. Even at a young age, he brought something rare to the stage: sincerity, emotion, and an unexplainable connection with the audience. People didn't just watch him, they felt him. They saw something in his eyes, in the way he moved, in the way he sang, something pure, something extraordinary, something unforgettable. As the Jackson 5 continued performing across state lines, their talent attracted more attention than the family had ever imagined. Word spread about the little boy with the extraordinary voice and the big, expressive eyes. People talked about the way he commanded the stage, the way he sang with emotion, the way he seemed born to entertain. Even club owners and musicians who had seen hundreds of performers took notice. Something about Michael was different. By the late 1960s, the Jackson 5's journey took a life-changing turn. The family traveled to Detroit, Michigan, home of Motown Records, one of the most iconic music labels in history. Motown was known for shaping the careers of legends like Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross, Marvin Gaye, and The Temptations. The possibility of auditioning there felt like a dream, far larger than anything the Jackson family had dared to imagine. Their audition at Motown became the stuff of legend. According to those who witnessed it, Michael walked into the room small, quiet, and humble. But when the music began, he transformed instantly. His voice soared with emotion and maturity far beyond his years. The executives sat in stunned silence as he moved with confidence, hitting every note, every rhythm, every moment with effortless grace. When the audition ended, the room erupted with excitement. The Jackson 5 had impressed some of the toughest critics in the music industry. Motown knew immediately that this group, led by a child with a once-in-a-generation gift, had the potential to become something extraordinary. In 1969, the Jackson 5 officially signed with Motown Records, marking the beginning of a new era in Michael's life. Under Motown's guidance, the family moved to Los Angeles. Their world suddenly expanded. They entered professional studios, worked with experienced producers, and began recording songs that would soon echo around the globe. Michael, though still very young, adapted quickly. He studied every aspect of performance and recording with the same curiosity and passion he had shown since childhood. In 1969, the Jackson 5 released their first major hit, I Want You Back. The song immediately exploded onto the charts, showcasing Michael's brilliant lead vocals and captivating energy. Audiences were mesmerized by the blend of innocence and power in his voice. The single shot to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, marking the arrival of a new musical force. The success didn't stop there. The group quickly followed with more #1 hits, including ABC, The Love You Save, and I'll Be There. Each song featured Michael's unmistakable voice, bright, emotional, and filled with a pure joy that resonated deeply with listeners of all ages. His presence on stage and television brought smiles, warmth, and excitement to millions. At a time when the world was filled with social and cultural challenges, the Jackson 5 represented unity, hope, and youthful brilliance. Their colorful outfits, flawless choreography, and infectious melodies made them one of the most beloved groups of the era. And in the center of it all was Michael, glowing, gifted, and growing more confident with every performance. Yet even as his fame grew, Michael remained gentle and introspective. When he was not performing, he loved quiet moments alone, sketching, reading, or spending time with pets. Despite the whirlwind of fame around him, he carried a softness in his spirit, a longing for normal childhood experiences that he rarely had the chance to enjoy. In interviews, he spoke softly about wanting to play outside, ride bicycles, or go to the movies without being recognized. The world adored him, but it often forgot that inside the sparkling star was still a young boy trying to find balance between the demands of fame and the simplicity of childhood. As the years passed, Michael's talent continued to expand. He absorbed musical styles, studied great entertainers, and practiced tirelessly. He watched Charlie Chaplin films, admired Sammy Davis Jr., and learned from James Brown's dynamic stage presence. These influences shaped his artistry, helping him build the foundation of what would eventually become one of the most iconic careers in music history. As the Jackson 5 continued performing across state lines, their talent attracted more attention than the family had ever imagined. Word spread about the little boy with the extraordinary voice and the big, expressive eyes. People talked about the way he commanded the stage, the way he sang with emotion, the way he seemed born to entertain. Even club owners and musicians who had seen hundreds of performers took notice. Something about Michael was different. By the late 1960s, the Jackson 5's journey took a life-changing turn. The family traveled to Detroit, Michigan, home of Motown Records, one of the most iconic music labels in history. Motown was known for shaping the careers of legends like Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross, Marvin Gaye, and The Temptations. The possibility of auditioning there felt like a dream, far larger than anything the Jackson family had dared to imagine. Their audition at Motown became the stuff of legend. According to those who witnessed it, Michael walked into the room small, quiet, and humble. But when the music began, he transformed instantly. His voice soared with emotion and maturity far beyond his years. The executives sat in stunned silence as he moved with confidence, hitting every note, every rhythm, every moment with effortless grace. When the audition ended, the room erupted with excitement. The Jackson 5 had impressed some of the toughest critics in the music industry. Motown knew immediately that this group, led by a child with a once-in-a-generation gift, had the potential to become something extraordinary. In 1969, the Jackson 5 officially signed with Motown Records, marking the beginning of a new era in Michael's life. Under Motown's guidance, the family moved to Los Angeles. Their world suddenly expanded. They entered professional studios, worked with experienced producers, and began recording songs that would soon echo around the globe. Michael, though still very young, adapted quickly. He studied every aspect of performance and recording with the same curiosity and passion he had shown since childhood. In 1969, the Jackson 5 released their first major hit, I Want You Back. The song immediately exploded onto the charts, showcasing Michael's brilliant lead vocals and captivating energy. Audiences were mesmerized by the blend of innocence and power in his voice. The single shot to number one on the Billboard Hot 100, marking the arrival of a new musical force. The success didn't stop there. The group quickly followed with more number one hits, including ABC, The Love You Save, and I'll Be There. Each song featured Michael's unmistakable voice, bright, emotional, and filled with a pure joy that resonated deeply with listeners of all ages. His presence on stage and television brought smiles, warmth, and excitement to millions. At a time when the world was filled with social and cultural challenges, the Jackson 5 represented unity, hope, and youthful brilliance. Their colorful outfits, flawless choreography, and infectious melodies made them one of the most beloved groups of the era. And in the center of it all was Michael, glowing, gifted, and growing more confident with every performance. Yet even as his fame grew, Michael remained gentle and introspective. When he was not performing, he loved quiet moments alone, sketching, reading, or spending time with pets. Despite the whirlwind of fame around him, he carried a softness in his spirit, a longing for normal childhood experiences that he rarely had the chance to enjoy. In interviews, he spoke softly about wanting to play outside, ride bicycles, or go to the movies without being recognized. The world adored him, but it often forgot that inside the sparkling star was still a young boy trying to find balance between the demands of fame and the simplicity of childhood. As the years passed, Michael's talent continued to expand. He absorbed musical styles, studied great entertainers, and practiced tirelessly. He watched Charlie Chaplin films, admired Sammy Davis Jr., and learned from James Brown's dynamic stage presence. These influences shaped his artistry, helping him build the foundation of what would eventually become one of the most iconic careers in music history. As the 1970s progressed, Michael's voice began to mature, revealing new depths of tone and emotion. While he was still the shining center of the Jackson 5, it became clear to everyone around him that he possessed a rare individuality, a presence that could stand on its own. He had charisma, vulnerability, and a natural storytelling ability that made every note feel alive. The world was beginning to sense that Michael Jackson was destined for something far greater than childhood stardom. Even so, Michael carried a delicate balance within himself. On one side, he felt gratitude for the opportunities life had given him, the success he shared with his brothers, and the love of fans around the world. On the other, he longed for moments of stillness, for the simple joys he never had the chance to fully experience. This inner duality, brilliance, and fragility became one of the core elements of his identity. By the mid-1970s, the Jackson 5 made a significant change. They left Motown Records and signed with Epic Records, marking a new chapter for the family group. With the move came a new name, the Jacksons. Michael, now entering his late teens, began taking greater creative control. He contributed more to songwriting, experimented with new sounds, and pushed the group toward artistic growth. But it was clear that his individual star power was becoming impossible to contain. He had dreams that extended beyond the boundaries of the group, ideas, visions, a desire to explore the limits of what music could be. Michael was not just a performer, he was an artist in the truest sense, constantly searching for new ways to express emotion and tell stories through rhythm, melody, and movement. That deep urge for expression led him to begin recording solo material again. In 1979, he released an album that would forever reshape the future of music, Off the Wall. Working with producer Quincy Jones, Michael found the perfect creative partner. Quincy understood his sensitivity, his ambition, and his desire to create music that touched both the heart and the body. Together, they crafted an album that was vibrant, innovative, and filled with warmth. Off the Wall was a masterwork. Songs like Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and Rock With You showcased Michael's evolving vocal mastery, blending sweetness with power, joy with precision. His voice danced effortlessly across the tracks, while the grooves shimmered with a sense of celebration and freedom. The album became a worldwide success, earning critical acclaim and setting the stage for what was to come. For Michael, Off the Wall was more than a commercial triumph. It was a personal awakening. It proved to him that he could stand on his own, that his vision mattered, and that he was capable of creating something timeless. It also ignited a quiet fire inside him, a determination to go even further. He had tasted artistic freedom, and he wanted more, much more. As he reflected on the success of Off the Wall, Michael began dreaming of an album that would transcend genres, borders, and expectations. An album that would unite people of all backgrounds. An album that would break every rule the industry had ever known. He didn't want to simply entertain. He wanted to inspire, to heal, to create something that felt universal. This dream would soon lead him toward one of the greatest artistic achievements in history. The world had no idea what Michael Jackson was preparing, but deep in his heart, he knew something extraordinary was coming, something that would change music forever and elevate him to heights no one could imagine. The early 1980s marked a turning point not only in Michael's life, but in the history of music itself. After the success of Off the Wall, Michael felt both proud and hungry. Proud of what he had created, but hungry to do something even greater. He believed deeply that music could be bigger, more powerful, more emotional than anything the world had ever seen. Inside him, a quiet determination grew stronger. He wanted to create an album that would make history. In the studio, with Quincy Jones once again, Michael began shaping the project that would become Thriller. He approached the album with intense focus and discipline. Every note, every beat, every lyric mattered. He spent endless hours perfecting harmonies, crafting melodies, and experimenting with new sounds. Michael didn't simply want a successful album. He wanted a masterpiece, something timeless, something unforgettable. When Thriller was released in 1982, it immediately captured the world's attention. The album was brilliant in every way, bold, diverse, emotional, and incredibly innovative. Tracks like Billie Jean, Beat It, and the title track Thriller showcased Michael's creative genius, blending pop, soul, rock, and dance into something entirely new. His voice carried an intensity and vulnerability that touched listeners deeply. Billie Jean became a phenomenon. The song's mysterious story, its hypnotic bass line, and Michael's emotional delivery made it one of the most recognizable tracks in music history. On stage, Michael debuted the moonwalk, a move so smooth and mesmerizing that it instantly became iconic. It felt like gravity stopped for a moment, as if Michael had found a way to glide between worlds. Then came the Thriller short film, a groundbreaking blend of music, cinema, choreography, and storytelling. It wasn't just a music video, it was an experience, a cultural moment. Millions watched in awe as Michael transformed into characters, danced with impossible precision, and created visuals that felt both haunting and thrilling. The world had never seen anything like it. Thriller shattered every record imaginable. It became the best-selling album of all time, earning praise from critics, musicians, and fans across every continent. Michael Jackson wasn't just a star anymore. He was a global phenomenon, a symbol of creativity, innovation, and artistic courage. His influence stretched across nations, languages, and generations. But behind the enormous success, Michael remained deeply sensitive. Fame brought him joy, but it also brought pressure. Expectations grew with every achievement. The world watched his every move, waiting for something new, something bigger, something impossible. Michael felt that weight, yet he carried it with grace, pouring his emotions into his music, letting his art speak when words couldn't. During the quiet moments at home, he often wrote in journals, reflecting on life, love, and the impact he hoped to make. He dreamed of a world with more kindness, more imagination, and more unity. Those visions inspired him as much as the music itself. Michael wasn't simply trying to entertain, he was trying to touch hearts, to heal, to inspire. After Thriller, Michael prepared for his next chapter. He collaborated with major artists, explored new themes, and continued refining his craft. His ambition didn't fade, it intensified, and in the years ahead, he would prove once again that his creativity had no limits, that his heart held endless melodies, and that his artistry would shape the world in ways still felt today. As Michael entered the mid-1980s, he continued exploring new creative possibilities. Every project he touched carried a distinct sense of intention. He wanted his music to be bigger than entertainment. He wanted it to mean something, to carry emotion, to reflect who he was and who he hoped to become. This desire led him to create Bad, an album that marked yet another evolution in his artistry. Released in 1987, Bad showcased a bolder, more confident Michael. While Thriller had redefined what an album could be, Bad showed that Michael wasn't afraid of change or reinvention. He experimented with rock, funk, pop, and dramatic storytelling. The album featured songs like Smooth Criminal, Man in the Mirror, and The Way You Make Me Feel, each highlighting different sides of Michael's personality. Man in the Mirror, in particular, became one of his most meaningful songs. It reflected Michael's deep belief in personal responsibility and inner transformation. He often spoke about the importance of kindness, compassion, and self-reflection. Through music, he encouraged listeners to become the change they wished to see in the world. For Michael, these weren't just lyrics. They were his core values. The Bad era also brought groundbreaking short films. Michael approached music videos like cinematic works, blending narrative, choreography, and emotional storytelling. From the sharp, angular movement in Smooth Criminal to the romantic tenderness of The Way You Make Me Feel, each film added depth and dimension to the music. His performances during this time were extraordinary. On stage, Michael seemed to dissolve into the music. Every movement, every breath, every step felt precise and effortless. Fans described watching him perform as witnessing something magical, an experience that lifted the spirit and stayed in the memory long after the show ended. By the late 1980s, Michael had become one of the most recognizable figures on Earth. Everywhere he went, crowds gathered in overwhelming numbers. His concerts sold out instantly. His appearance on television caused global surges in viewership. Children copied his dance moves. Adults admired his artistry. His reach extended to countries he had never visited, where people who didn't speak English still sang his songs by heart. Despite the fame, Michael remained gentle and introspective. He often spoke softly in interviews, sharing his dreams of building a kinder world. He believed that children held the key to a brighter future, and he dedicated much of his time and resources to helping them. Hospitals, orphanages, and humanitarian projects became central parts of his life. Michael's compassion was not a performance. It was a natural expression of his heart. He visited sick children privately, without cameras or media, simply to bring them joy. He wrote songs that encouraged unity and healing. He donated millions to causes he believed in. To Michael, love was the most powerful force in the world, and he wanted his life to reflect that belief. As the decade ended, Michael prepared to enter the 1990s with renewed creativity. New ideas filled his mind. New stories, new sounds, new visions were waiting. Even after achieving success beyond imagination, he continued to push himself, always searching for deeper meaning and greater artistic truth. The 1990s began with a sense of renewal for Michael. After years of extraordinary achievements, he entered the new decade ready to explore deeper themes, richer storytelling, and more personal expression. His next album, Dangerous, released in 1991, revealed a more mature, introspective artist, one who was willing to confront the complexities of the world, as well as the emotions within his own heart. Dangerous blended bold sounds with powerful messages. Songs like Remember the Time celebrated love and connection, while In the Closet explored intimacy and mystery. Black or White delivered a message of unity and equality, reminding listeners that humanity transcends race, borders, and differences. The album showcased Michael's growing interest in addressing global themes and promoting understanding. The short films from this era were some of his most memorable. Remember the Time, set in ancient Egypt, featured stunning visuals, intricate costumes, and choreography that felt both modern and timeless. The energy, rhythm, and spirit of the film captured Michael's ability to create entire worlds within a few minutes of screen time. Michael's humanitarian work also deepened during this period. He traveled around the globe, meeting children in need, visiting hospitals, and supporting medical treatments. He took time, even in the busiest moments of his career, to comfort young fans who were ill or hospitalized. His compassion was sincere, an extension of the gentle heart he had carried since childhood. In 1992, he launched the Heal the World Foundation, an organization dedicated to supporting children and improving global living conditions. The name came from one of his most heartfelt songs, Heal the World, which expressed his belief in love, empathy, and the responsibility people share in caring for one another. Throughout the decade, Michael's creative ambition remained strong. His performances became larger, more theatrical, and more emotionally charged. He incorporated storytelling, symbolism, and dramatic visual elements into every show. Concerts on the Dangerous and later the History tours were filled with stunning effects, explosions of light, elaborate sets, and choreography that left audiences breathless. The History era, beginning in 1995, was particularly personal. Michael released the double album, History, Past, Present, and Future, Book 1, a project that blended his greatest hits with new, deeply emotional material. The album served as both a reflection on his journey and a commentary on the challenges he had faced. Tracks like Stranger in Moscow, Earth Song, and They Don't Care About Us revealed raw vulnerability and powerful social messages. Earth Song, in particular, became one of Michael's most iconic works. It carried a haunting plea for the planet, animals, and all life affected by human conflict and destruction. When Michael performed the song live, he poured every emotion into it: sadness, hope, passion, and a profound connection to nature. Fans often described his performances as spiritual experiences. Despite the intensity of his public life, Michael continued to seek moments of peace away from the spotlight. He spent time with his animals, enjoyed reading, and surrounded himself with nature whenever possible. He found comfort in creativity, writing, painting, composing, and imagining new ideas for future projects. The 1990s were a time of transformation for Michael. His music grew deeper, his humanitarian efforts expanded, and his artistic vision reached new levels of sophistication. Even as the pressures of fame increased, he remained committed to sharing messages of love, unity, and healing. Michael never stopped believing in the power of music to change hearts and inspire hope. As the new millennium approached, Michael stood at a crossroads in his life. He had achieved more than most artists could ever dream of, yet he remained driven by a desire to create, to imagine, and to share. The early 2000s would bring new challenges, new growth, and new expressions of his enduring artistic spirit. In 2001, Michael released Invincible, his final studio album. The project carried emotional depth, layered harmonies, and a blend of modern and classic sounds. While the album did not receive the same level of recognition as his earlier works, it contained moments of beauty and vulnerability, especially in songs like Butterflies and Heaven Can Wait. Michael poured his heart into the recordings, valuing the emotional honesty of the music. During this time, he spent much of his energy focusing on fatherhood. Becoming a parent changed Michael in profound ways. He spoke openly about the joy his children brought him, their laughter, their innocence, and the sense of peace he felt when he was with them. He wanted to offer them the childhood he never had, full of freedom, love, and warmth. Away from the stage, Michael created environments where his children could explore, learn, and dream. He encouraged creativity, imagination, and compassion. He taught them to see the world with wonder. To him, fatherhood was one of the greatest gifts life had ever given, and he embraced it with tenderness and devotion. Even as he dedicated himself to his children, Michael continued to think about his future in music. Ideas for new projects filled his notebooks. He envisioned new sounds, new shows, and new artistic possibilities. Though he had stepped away from touring, the spark of creativity remained alive. Michael believed that his purpose was not yet complete. In the late 2000s, he announced a series of comeback concerts titled "This Is It." The shows were planned for London and were expected to be some of the most ambitious performances of his career. Fans around the world erupted with excitement. The thought of seeing Michael Jackson live again ignited hope, nostalgia, and joy across generations. Rehearsals began in Los Angeles, where Michael worked closely with dancers, musicians, and creative directors. Despite the pressures and expectations, he approached the rehearsals with passion and meticulous attention to detail. He refined choreography, adjusted lighting, and perfected musical arrangements. Those who worked with him described his energy as focused, gentle, and inspiring. He moved with the same purpose that had defined him since childhood, the desire to give the world something magical. Michael envisioned "This Is It" as more than a concert. He saw it as a message, a final opportunity to share his love for the planet, his hope for unity, and his belief in creativity. He poured himself into the preparations, determined to create an experience that would uplift the world. But behind the scenes, he was also facing physical and emotional challenges. The pressures of returning to the stage, the intensity of rehearsals, and the weight of global expectations created a demanding environment. Even so, Michael pushed forward with quiet strength, holding on to his dreams of performing for his fans one more time. The world watched closely, waiting for the moment he would step onto the stage again. Fans from every corner of the globe prepared to travel to London, eager to witness the return of one of the most influential entertainers in history. The anticipation was enormous. Michael's legacy had already been secured, but his spirit remained full of creativity, hope, and an unwavering desire to touch hearts. As the world held its breath in anticipation of Michael's grand return, the atmosphere around him grew heavier with responsibility and hope. He understood what the concerts meant, not just to fans, but to music itself. "This Is It" represented a celebration of his life's work, a closing chapter he wanted to craft with care, precision, and love. Rehearsals continued late into the nights. Michael adjusted choreography with gentle guidance, encouraging dancers to give their best while offering kindness and warmth. He worked closely with musicians to refine harmonies and tempos, shaping each performance with the same dedication he had shown throughout his entire career. Moments captured during rehearsals showed him smiling, laughing softly, and moving gracefully across the stage, as if the music had never left his body. His collaborators described him as a perfectionist, but also as someone deeply empathetic. He noticed when someone felt stressed or overwhelmed and would pause everything to offer support. Michael understood the importance of emotional connection in creativity. He believed that great art came from a place of love, and he tried to create that feeling around him, even in the most demanding moments. As the opening night approached, plans for the shows expanded. The stage designs grew more ambitious, the video projections more breathtaking, and the message behind the concerts more powerful. Michael envisioned a performance that blended environmental awareness, unity, and hope. His intention was not only to entertain, but to remind the world of its shared humanity. Yet, Behind the rehearsals, rumors circulated about his health. Close collaborators noticed moments of exhaustion, hints of physical strain, and a fragility that contrasted with the strength he displayed on stage. Michael pushed himself with quiet determination, determined to bring his vision to life, even when his body felt the weight of the expectations placed upon him. Despite these challenges, the dream persisted. Michael spoke of wanting to inspire the world once again, to show people the beauty of creativity and imagination. He believed that art could heal, unite, and uplift. Those who worked with him during this time felt his sincerity, his vulnerability, and the depth of his commitment to the show. But on June 25, 2009, the world received news it was never prepared to hear. Michael Jackson, the man whose music had inspired generations, had passed away. The announcement spread across continents within minutes, sending shockwaves through millions of hearts. Fans cried openly in the streets. Radio stations played his songs non-stop. Landmarks around the world lit up in his honor. A global silence fell, a shared sense of loss and disbelief. The world mourned not just the artist, but the gentle spirit behind the music. Michael had given his entire life to his art. Every emotion, every dream, every piece of his soul woven into the melodies that shaped cultures and touched hearts. His passing felt like the end of an era, a moment when the world paused to honor a life filled with beauty, brilliance, and unmatched creativity. In the days that followed, people gathered in cities across the globe to celebrate his life. They sang his songs together, danced in his memory, and shared stories of how his music had comforted them, inspired them, and helped them through life's hardest moments. Michael's impact was deeper than chart numbers or awards. It lived in the emotions he sparked, the hope he gave, and the unity he encouraged. In the years following Michael's passing, the world slowly began to understand the magnitude of his legacy. People revisited his music with newfound appreciation, listening closely to the layers of emotion hidden within each song. His voice, the warmth, the vulnerability, the power, felt more precious than ever. His messages of unity, compassion, and healing continued to resonate across generations. Tributes appeared everywhere. Artists spoke openly about how Michael had shaped their careers, inspired their creativity, and opened doors that once seemed impossible to reach. Dancers, singers, producers, and filmmakers all acknowledged the ways in which his vision had transformed the very language of entertainment. Without Michael, the landscape of popular music would look completely different. For many, revisiting his performances brought comfort. Watching him glide across the stage, hearing the softness in his speaking voice, or witnessing the joy he brought to audiences offered a sense of closeness, like reconnecting with an old friend. His artistry had an almost healing quality, as if each performance carried gentle waves of emotion that could soothe the heart. Over time, documentaries and films explored his life with more nuance, highlighting both his extraordinary achievements and the quiet, tender aspects of his personality that were often overshadowed by fame. They showed a man who loved deeply, who cared profoundly for children and animals, and who believed passionately in the power of imagination. Children who grew up listening to his music introduced it to their own families, turning his songs into generational treasures. Thriller, Billie Jean, Beat It, and Heal the World continue to echo through homes, schools, and celebrations around the world. Each song carried a story, a memory, a moment shaped by Michael's enduring presence. His influence extended far beyond music charts. In dance, the moonwalk became a universal symbol of creativity and wonder. In fashion, his iconic jackets, gloves, and hairstyles became timeless references. In humanitarian work, his contributions continued to inspire people to take action and care for others. Michael had woven himself into the cultural fabric of humanity in a way that few artists ever could. Museums created exhibits to honor his life. Universities studied his artistry. Choreographers dissected his movements, marveling at the precision and innovation behind every step. Vocal coaches analyzed the emotional depth of his singing, recognizing the unique blend of innocence and strength that made his voice unforgettable. And still, despite all these tributes, the essence of Michael's legacy lived in something simpler, something quieter. It lived in the way his music made people feel comforted, understood, inspired, connected. Whether someone listened to him in moments of joy or sadness, Michael had a way of reaching directly into the heart, offering warmth without ever knowing the listener personally. His dream had always been to bring people together, to encourage them to look inward, and to remind them of the beauty of the world. Through his art, he accomplished exactly that. His life was a message, a gentle reminder that creativity is a universal language, capable of healing, uniting, and transforming the human spirit. Even today, as decades pass, Michael's presence continues to glow softly through time, like a candle that refuses to be extinguished. His story remains alive, carried by millions of voices, memories, and hearts around the world. As the years continued to pass, Michael's legacy settled into a gentle, enduring rhythm. His influence was no longer measured only in records sold or awards won, but in something far more meaningful: the way his life touched the hearts of millions. His music continued to drift softly through bedrooms, cars, cafes, and celebrations. His words continued to inspire kindness, creativity, and connection. His presence continued to offer comfort to those who needed it most. Every generation found something different in his work. Some heard strength in his voice, others felt the tenderness in his melodies. Many saw reflections of their own dreams in his courage to be vulnerable, expressive, and endlessly imaginative. Michael had a rare gift. He could make people feel understood without ever meeting them. He could bring light to difficult moments. He could turn sound into emotion and emotion into healing. As time went on, the world began to view his life with more compassion. People recognized the weight he carried from childhood, the pressures he faced, and the emotional depth behind his desire to bring joy to others. They saw not just the superstar, but the gentle human being who longed for peace, simplicity, and love. They understood that his brilliance was both a blessing and a responsibility, one he carried with grace, even through hardship. In quiet moments, fans around the world still pause to honor him. Some light candles, others play their favorite songs. Many simply close their eyes and remember how his music made them feel safe, inspired, and connected to something greater than themselves. His legacy isn't defined by fame, but by feeling, by warmth, by the quiet glow he left in the hearts of millions. And so, as the story of Michael Jackson gently settles in your mind, allow yourself to drift into a place of calm. His journey from a small home in Gary, Indiana, to the largest stages in the world reminds us of the power of dreams, the power of creativity, the power of a tender heart in a challenging world. Let his music, his kindness, and his spirit guide you into rest. Let your breathing slow. Let your thoughts soften. Let the world become quiet for a moment. You've traveled through decades of history, music, and emotion, and now you can let go. Allow yourself to relax completely. Michael believed deeply in the magic of imagination, in the beauty of innocence, and in the healing strength of love. Carry a little of that with you now. Let it soothe your mind. Let it warm your heart. Let it gently guide you into sleep. Tonight, as you rest, remember, the world is still full of wonder, creativity, kindness, and possibility. Just as Michael shared his light with the world, you carry your own unique light, one that can brighten the lives of others in ways you may never fully realize. Close your eyes slowly. Let your breathing deepen. Let the story fade softly into silence. And as the final notes of his legacy echo gently in your heart, allow yourself to drift peacefully into sleep, calm, safe, and at ease. The night is quiet now, and somewhere far away, the sound of a gentle record player seems to hum beneath the silence, as if an old vinyl were spinning slowly in the dark, letting a soft, warm voice float through the air. Imagine that voice as a soft glow in the distance, steady and familiar, the kind of sound that makes you feel safe without knowing exactly why.